Esteemed teachers, very morning to all of you. So today is a very auspicious day. We have all assembled at the school, and just in a short while we will have Shri Sukhi Sahib's Park. So on this auspicious occasion, we will be seeking the blessings of God, so that the responsibility which has been given to all of us, we are in a position to discharge that duty, that responsibility quite well, as per the need of the students, as per the satisfaction of the parents, and as per the need of 21st century. It's a tough task, and therefore God's blessings are always required, and we will be seeking those blessings today. Well, let's move on. When work is done at the school, in the classrooms, that is classwork for the students. When children go home, we always insist that they should treat themselves as students even when they go home. So if they are students even at home, how is it to be ensured? इसको सुनिश्चित कैसे किया जाए? For that, we assign them work which is to be done at home, and that is homework. Now, if suppose we have to make any kind of comparison, so we cannot say that classwork is more important and homework is less important. And we cannot say that homework is more important and classwork is less important. It is classwork and homework that is equally important. So work that is done in the class should be done well, and work that is done at home, that too should be done well. It is this which we as teachers need to understand, and it is this that students also must understand. For that, it is extremely important that we the teachers have complete clarity of learning objectives. If we are doing classwork, the classwork also has some learning objective. If students are to do homework and we are to assign homework, so we are assigning homework keeping in mind certain learning objectives. I hope that till this point I have made everything clear.
Yes.
What is that? What has been understood? Classwork, homework, equally important. One. Number two, objectives of classwork. We need to have clarity of that. Objectives of homework, we need to have clarity of that also. So we will be discussing objectives of classwork first. You see, anybody can do his work extremely well if he or she is ready to do that work, if he or she is willing to do that work. If he or she is not willing to do that work cannot be done well. So when we are talking of willingness, we talk of readiness. Students, they are innocent, they are immature, and quite a few of them are ignorant. So they don't understand the importance of the work which you are doing. Every day, you have to teach them a new lesson, a new chapter, or if not a new chapter, then new content. New content is to be taught every day. The repetition of content is not there. So when you have to teach them something new, it's important that we should build up the mood of the students for something that is to be delivered in that class today, that is to be taught to the students today. This is called mood building. and that is called readiness to learn. So mood building is very essential. You know what you are to teach in the class. So whatever is to be taught in the class, when you know it pretty well and you have done thorough preparation of that, then it is very important that before you start explaining the content, it is important that you have some discussion with the students, and through that discussion you should arouse that willingness to learn. You should arouse that readiness to learn, and you should have the mood of the children for that particular topic. Then your teaching will be far more effective because you have created the ground for that. And until and unless that ground is created, you cannot impart teaching effectively. And anything that you teach in the class, that will not be absorbed by the students. So what is essential? What is essential? Readiness to learn. So will it happen on its own? Objectively? Then we need to create that willingness to learn in the children. For that, what is essential? Mood building is essential. And mood building is possible through some kind of discussion. Right? Please. Next is, mood building will be possible for you if you tell the children real life application of that topic which is to be taken up in that classroom on a specific thing. That whatever we are going to do today, how it is going to help the children in real life, how it is going to help the children in examination. So real life as well as examination. When we write real life application, there in the same breath we have to tell the students examinational relevance as well. So that will also make your job easy. Classwork will be effective, but it will be effective if through our classwork we give the children clarity of the overall theme of the topic. On a number of occasions, it happened last year that students were called in the office and they were told to tell me the basic theme of the chapter. It never happened that any student could tell me the basic theme of the chapter. So a basic theme, the central thought, the central idea is not understood by the children. That means they might have understood the language, but they have not understood the concept. So it is this which is called concept. Very often such statements are made by us that children do not have concept clarity. So this is what you call concept clarity. The basic theme. The basic theme should be understood by the students. Method should be understood by the students. Whichever formulae are there, if we are science teachers, if we are mathematics teachers, whichever formulae, or we are geography teacher, whichever formulae are there, it is important that those formulae are also very well known to the children. So theme, method, formula. Our children, they come from rural background. So on a number of occasions, it happens that they do not understand the language. So when we are teaching them, it is important that we have this kind of discussion in the class in such a manner that our students, they understand the language. When we talk about theme, it is important. Central thought, it is important. But the language which has been used in the book and the language which has been dictated to the students, that that should also be understood by the children. Then only our classwork will be effective classwork. And that is the objective of our classwork. That the language that is being used in the class, that is understood by the students, it is to be ensured, and that is to be ensured through questions. Up to what extent they have understood the language. I am not saying that we should stop using English. All that I am saying is, when we are using English, then there should be a proper dialogue in the class. It should not be a monologue. If one person comes, delivers a lecture, and leaves the class. So that way, our classroom teaching or our classwork will not be effective classwork. Classwork will be effective only if we raise questions to the students, and if they have any doubt, those doubts are duly removed. So for that, dear colleagues, we should have good interaction in the class. But we are not to stop English communication. Now, if we want that our children become independent readers, independent learners, for that, this is also required that our children have clarity of words. Important key words are there. Important key terms are there. So whichever words are key words, those may be junior most classes, those may be senior most classes. All the time, our children, they have different new words. So those new words, they should understand, and they should also do the practice of pronouncing those words. In our library also, this kind of practice should be followed, and in the classroom also, this kind of practice should be followed. There are children, they take proper notice of the words. How do they take notice of the words? How do they take notice of the words? If we write those words on the writing board, if children note down those words, those terms in their classwork notebooks, if meanings are also written on the board, they also write on the meanings, and we pronounce those words while writing those words on the board, and we tell children also to pronounce these words. So pronunciation practice, that should be there. There's no doubt about that. Next is practice. If mathematics is there, practice is essential. So practice is to be given to the students in the classroom. Similarly, we may be science teachers, then also practice of certain questions, practice of certain diagrams. If we are language teachers, then practice of certain questions, practice of certain words, practice of recitation, practice of pronunciation. This practice is required to be given to the students. But it's very important that children listen and learn. When I say listen and learn, we should give the demonstration of recitation. We should give the demonstration of pronunciation. Then children should be told to do the practice of recitation in their class. It should not ever happen that different children, they are reciting something improperly and questions are raised to the teacher and teacher says, I am giving them practice. Practice means they should see, they should listen, they should understand, they should absorb, and then they should do practice. So, whatever is the role of the students here, that is slightly less. It is the role of the teacher that is slightly more. When it comes to reading and recitation, students should listen to us and then they should do practice of recitation, reading, and pronunciation. So that is something which we need to understand, proper practice. Practice of question answers will be written practice. Practice of reading and recitation and pronunciation will be oral practice. Practice, this is also practice that we raise a question to the students or we float a question in the classroom and then we tell the children to raise hand and respond. That that is also practice. We are talking of classroom. Another very significant objective of classwork is that whatever has been taught in the class, we need to confirm that it has been properly absorbed and understood by the students. So, next point is the proper record of revision के बाद है to ensure understanding. Yes, understand. That is very important. And how can that be ensured? When you give practice to the students, then also it can be ensured. When you conduct recapitulation the next day, then also it is ensured. When you raise questions in the class for your interaction, through that also it can be ensured. Okay? So you assign them some written work for the class, through that it can be ensured. Through question answers discussion, it can be ensured. So there are multiple ways. But it is extremely important that we ensure that the work done today has been understood by the students. Before that, I missed one very important point, that we do classwork, because it is our objective that when children go home, our children should do the revision of it. If classwork is not properly done, then it is not possible for the students to do revision. Now, if suppose this objective is to be achieved, what is to be done? Please. If this objective is to be achieved, objective of revision. Now let's show the previous slide. See, proper record for revision. So if revision is to be done effectively by the students, okay, and this is one of our objectives of the classwork, how can this objective be achieved? That they have good record for doing the revision.
Classwork underlines the
comprehensive, clear content of classwork should be there in the classwork notebooks. If suppose classwork notebook content is very limited, it is very concise, it is very short, then students don't have much work to do at home. What will they revise? They will revise all that has been done in the classwork notebooks. So in classwork notebooks, comprehensive work should be there on daily basis. In every teaching period, it is important that children have a lot of work in their classwork notebook. So a lot of work in the classwork notebook, one part. Lot of textbook underlining. Lot of textbook underlining. That is equally important. Even if we are mathematics teachers, to being mathematics teachers, before any chapter is to start, before that we have introduction, we have formulae, we have rules, and we have examples. So if we are talking of rules, we are talking of formulae, we are talking of definitions. So all these definitions, formulae should be underlined by the students. This part is usually omitted by the students. They are not ever aware of this. So therefore, we may be the teacher of any subject, but this is very important that children, they have textbook underlining compulsory. So good content of the textbook, comprehensive content of the textbook should be underlined by the students in the class. There also, it was noticed last year that those students who are academically strong, they do proper underlining. Those who are a bit careless, they don't do underlining in a proper line. and we the teachers also remain indifferent to this practice of the students. We don't take much care of that. So it is important that we be the teachers and later on we have to take the accountability. It is very important at our end that we must ensure that if students have been told to underline some part of the textbook, that should be done not by one, not by 10%, 20%, but by 100% students sitting in the class. So this is one of our top priorities because we always want that our children should do revision at home. Next is, yes, real life application is very important, but we need to make our children ready and thoroughly prepared for examinations. So, the sort of questions which are asked in the examination, that kind of oral practice should be done in the class, and short answer questions are to be assigned to the children which they are to do at home. So examination readiness is also one of the objectives of our classroom. I hope that our new colleagues, they are making proper note of everything, because old colleagues are aware of these priorities, but some of our new colleagues might not be aware of these objectives. But this is very important that when we are meeting the students, we may be meeting them once in a week, twice in a week, 3 times in a week, or 5 days in a week. Okay? It is one of the top priorities that our teaching should be such that all our children, they get ready for the examination. So that kind of exposure is required to be given to the students. Exposure of examination-oriented format, awareness of examination-oriented questions. If students are to be made 21st century children, we need to group them in such a manner that they have strong word power with them and they have strong communication skills with them. So communication skills, this is not the responsibility only of English teacher. Communication skills is the responsibility of everyone. This is not the responsibility of the teacher teaching classes 6th onwards, 9th onwards. This is the responsibility of the teacher teaching classes nursery onwards. So strong English communication skills, they are very important, and we are not to take deviation from this much important need, and lot of exposure of English should be there in the classroom. Now, this is about classroom objectives. In the last 1 week, in certain classes, it was noticed that some of these classroom learning objectives were being ignored in certain classes, in certain sections by certain teachers. Therefore, the need was felt and this preparation was done and this awareness has been provided. It is hoped that from Monday onwards, when our teachers are teaching their classes, they will take due care of all these objectives. But let us move from classwork to homework. When homework is assigned, what kind of homework is to be assigned and what objective are we to achieve? You see, in the classroom, so far as understanding part is concerned, it is always superficial. It is always partial. It is only at the surface level. It is very little understanding. Because after every 30-35 minutes, a new teacher comes and starts teaching something new. Even if a mother teacher is there, so after every 30-35 minutes, she is supposed to teach something new. in the class. So it is not possible for the child to absorb everything in a proper manner or to have in-depth understanding of the topic done in the class, read in the class, understood in the class. So first objective is to deepen the understanding level of the students. For that, homework is due. That the work done in the class, if it has not been thoroughly understood by the child, so that thoroughness in understanding the homework is ensured. For that, homework is assigned. So make sure that when you are assigning the homework, the purpose should be this, that our child should have proper, comprehensive, complete, deep understanding of the topic done in the class. You see, if suppose you tell the child, beta, these questions which have been dictated in the class, refer to these questions and write the same questions in your fair note. So here, वो बच्चा उसको देखता है, इधर उतारता है. Where is deep understanding? Where is complete understanding? Where is comprehensive understanding? It may be junior most class, it may be senior most class. I would like to understand this. इधर से पढ़ो, इधर उतारो. To a great extent, हाँ उसकी writing practice हो रही है. उसके अलावा, I mean, when you are talking about deep understanding, that is not there. और writing practice भी, because बच्चा देख रहा है और copy कर रहा है, he will be trying to finish his work at the earliest. So he will be writing fast, he will be writing carelessly, and his handwriting will also not be good, because he is not giving it a thought. So homework should be such where thought application is there, where child applies his mind. If that kind of homework is assigned to the children, they will be able to apply their mind and they will do it carefully. Next is that when, suppose mathematics homework has been assigned and the sums which have been given to me, those are different from the sums which were, say, done in the class. So when I solve those sums at home on my own and I am successful in that, what will happen? I will develop self-confidence. I will develop self-faith. Some points are given to me and I am told to elaborate those points into 100 words. So I do it on my own. My grammar may be incorrect, but I am successful in writing a note which is neat, okay, and which is containing 100 words. Those 100 words are my words. So that way I will be developing self-confidence. So homework should be such which develops self-confidence and self-faith. That kind of homework is to be assigned. Now, homework should be such which enables the child to get ready for examination. So in the classroom, you may give them the notes which are giving the child clarity of something which is there in the books. But when it comes to homework, you assign them those questions which are strictly as per the format of the question paper. Now, child will pick up the material from classwork. Child will pick up the material from the content of the book taught in the class, and child will attempt all those questions which were not dictated in the classroom, okay, but content is available in the classroom. Content was provided to them in the classroom. When children were told to underline the textbook, and when children were told to write certain notes in their classwork notebook, उनको रेफर करके बच्चे को जब हम मान लें एमसीक्यूज देंगे, बच्चे को हमने 1 मार्क जो क्वेश्चंस हैं वो दे देंगे, 3 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन दे दिए और उनको कह दिया कि इसमें आपकी जो लेंथ ऑफ आंसर है वो इतनी होनी चाहिए. That way children are getting ready for the exam. If parents say that why this much of work has been assigned, it is difficult for the child. So we have got very valid reason. This is examination oriented work. We are not giving any needless work. Or this is the work to build up the self-confidence of the children. There is no such work where child is doing copying. So it is not needless work. It is very much needed work, very much needful work. It is not needless work. Next is nature of work. So only one point is there. It should be different from classwork. Okay. Now there are a few examples. What kind of work can be assigned? Questions that can be answered by the child by referring to classwork and by referring to the content of the textbook. Refer to the work done in the class and refer to the work underlined in the textbook. So that kind of question should be there. Next is, suppose you have taught them words, you have taught them word meanings. Same words are there in their homework. Their children are told to use those words in their own sentences. That way, real word power will be developed. Use these words in your own sentences. Language teachers, Hindi teacher, Punjabi teacher, English teacher can assign this word to the students. If suppose we are mathematics teachers, so whichever statement sums have been done by the children in the class, or whichever column sums like addition, subtraction have been done by the children in the class, by changing the figures, by changing the statements, some other sums can be given to the students. That is something very easy. But this is not advisable. You refer to the sums done in the class and do the same sums in the fair room. That is wastage of time. Refer to the sums done in the class and attempt the sums given in your homework. That is better. कि जो क्लास में आपने किए उसको पढ़ो और ये जो नए सम्स दिए गए ये करो. Suppose we are to give them the practice of composition, like we are to give them the practice of some paragraph writing, some article writing, some essay writing, or even letter writing. तो फॉर्मेट की क्लैरिटी तो हम उनको क्लास में दे दी. उसके बाद we can give them certain points and we can tell them each point is to be elaborated in 30 words, in 40 words at least. So we have given them 4 points, 5 points. Write down these 4 points and elaborate each point in 30 words. So this is how, and you have given them, you have dictated some topic there in the class through interaction. But homework is not this. You refer to this topic in the class and write the same topic in your homework notebook. That is the wastage of time. Refer to the topic done in the class and then elaborate the points for your homework. That kind of work is to be assigned. Next is practice of diagrams. So diagrams are there. So diagrams practice should be done at home in the homework notebooks. We often assign this work reading. Please make it do loud reading. Loud reading. Bol ke padhna. That way their pronunciation will improve. Their reading ability will improve. Parents will also be able to listen to what the child is reading. Class may be any. Reading should always be loud. It should not be silent. Next is practice of pronouncing words. Write these words underline in the book and pronounce them. उनका उच्चारण करो. Pronounce each word 5 times. One thing more, whenever we assign reading work, it should not always be read. It should not just be do loud reading. It should, one more thing should be added. Do loud reading and understand. Do loud reading and understand. And then write definitions. And then write and expand the terms. So do loud reading, understand, and then write and expand the terms. Means terms के meaning लिखो, उनको expand करो. Daily reading and understanding of the classwork is mandatory. Written homework is to be given on alternate days by the teachers who are picking the students 5 times in a week. They are to assign written homework on alternate days. But when it comes to those teachers who have 1 or 2 periods in a week, they are to assign reading and written work every day when they meet the class. If a computer teacher is meeting a class twice, on whichever day they meet the class, they should assign written work. Art integration. Like in lesson plans, it is often mentioned that children will prepare this painting on this theme on A4 sheet. So this is also to be assigned to the students for home. It is not to be done in the class. So this kind of homework can be assigned to the students. I believe that now nobody has got any kind of confusion that how we can assign different kind of work to the students. So you have been given complete clarity that how you can assign different kind of work to the students, which will be relevant for them, which will be useful for them, and which will enable them to have better understanding of the concept and in the class, and which will also prepare them for the examination. A lot many times it happens, parents say कि हम तो पढ़े लिखे नहीं, हम बच्चों को इस प्रकार का होमवर्क कैसे करवा सकें? इसलिए हम अपने बच्चों को ट्यूशन के लिए भेजते हैं। अगर हम हमारे बच्चों को अपना होमवर्क करने के लिए ट्यूशन पर जाना पड़ता है, तो ये हम सबका ग्रॉस फेलियर है। इससे बड़ी असफलता हमारे लिए नहीं हो सकती कि हमारे बच्चे अपना होमवर्क करने के लिए ट्यूटर के पास जाते हैं। और अगर ऐसा हो गया कि हमारे बच्चों ने खुद काम करने की जगह पर ट्यूटर के पास जाकर अपना काम करना शुरू कर दिया, तो बच्चे कभी भी इंडिपेंडेंट लर्नर नहीं बनेंगे, बच्चे कभी भी एकेडमिकली स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं बनेंगे, बच्चे कभी भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल स्टूडेंट्स नहीं बनेंगे, बच्चे कभी भी क्लासरूम में डिसिप्लिन नहीं रहेंगे। उनको ये लगेगा कि हमारे असली टीचर तो वो हैं जो हमें ट्यूशन पर पढ़ाते हैं, क्योंकि वहां पर नंबर इज लेस, तो एक बेटर रेपो बन जाता है। तो बच्चे उनके ऊपर ज्यादा भरोसा करना शुरू कर देते हैं और हमारे ऊपर उनका विश्वास उठ जाता है। तो ऐसा हमें बिल्कुल नहीं होने देना कि हमारे बच्चे ट्यूशन पर पढ़ें। इसलिए जब भी बच्चों को होमवर्क देना है, it is very important that we give them complete clarity, complete understanding of how this homework is to be attempted. Children should never be scolded for doing their homework in an incorrect manner. They should never be scolded. They should always be appreciated for attempting the work. तो अगर बच्चे होमवर्क को अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं, भले ही गलत हो रहा है, उनको अप्रिशिएट जरूर किया जाए। और जब होमवर्क दिया जाए ये चीज साथ में जरूर कही जाए, you should not worry even up to little extent if your work is incorrect. We will help you here in the class. So, proper way and source of homework must be made clear. Last point, please. So this is no. Classwork. Next time, a word of caution. Classwork over time. Kindly remove this point. A word of caution. Classwork should be removed. That is not required. Yes. Yes. Word of caution. Let's show them. Yes. Word of caution. Next one. Child must not go for tuition. Next one. And child will not go for tuition if child is told the proper way and source of doing homework. How the child is to attempt that work. Which source he needs to study in order to have clarity of doing the homework. So which part of the classwork is to be studied? Which part of the textbook is to be studied in order to attempt the homework? How that answer is to be attempted by the students, that way should also be told to the students. Therefore, when we are giving homework to the students, we should take our own time. Homework should not ever be given to the children in a hurry. Homework should not ever be given to the children in a casual manner. We need to have proper preparation of the work which is to be assigned to the children. That is why buzzer system is there. After buzzer you have 5 minutes time. So out of those 5 minutes, if suppose 1 to 2 minutes are required for winding up the work or for summing up the work, the remaining 2 to 3 minutes should be taken for making the children understand the homework and the way of attempting the work. So that is something very important. Classwork and homework. I hope it has been understood. Well, this part of the discussion is over. One more point I would like to tell all my colleagues. See, we are all coming from our home to our school, which is quite far from our residence. We spare time and we are here for some purposeful work. This is what we expect from our students also. So when we are here, all of us have some work with us. And we should all be focused on that thing. I'm not saying we should be stressed here, we should be sad here, we should not meet and greet each other. But any such activity which reflects carelessness, which reflects casualness, that will definitely project me in a negative light before everyone, before our school authorities and before our students also. It was noticed that today some of our colleagues in the school premises, they were taking photographs, they were taking selfies. I don't think this is something which is purposeful. So that way we undermine our own position. our own stature, our own status, our own dignity. What do we have if not dignity? What do we have if not stature? So if we really expect that we should be treated with dignity, it's very important that we should not ever indulge in any such activity which undermines or which lowers our dignity, our stature, our position, our status. I am sure